Welcome. My name's Elena Holton. I'm the Director of Admissions here at St. Clement's School. Not only am I the Director of Admissions, but I'm also an alum. Now, I'm not going to be one of the alums sort of really speaking as an alum, but it does increase my passion for the school and gives me a perspective on the trajectory that the school has been on. On our panel today, we have Emma Coster, Alex Tinmouth, and Carmen Chung, and I'm going to get them to introduce themselves. So maybe starting with Emma, if you could introduce yourself, including a bit about you and your connection to St. Clement's.
Yeah, so my name's Emma Coster. I'm an alum of St. Clement's. I graduated in 2018, and I attended St. Clement's from grade 7 to grade 12. And I'm actually a daughter of the school as well. So my mom attended St. Clement's and she graduated in the class of 1985. So I have quite a long history with St. Clement's. And I'm currently studying health sciences at McMaster. I'm in my 3rd year there.
Thank you. Alex.
Hopefully everyone can hear me. I'm a current parent, but also an alumni of the school. I have 2 daughters at the school right now. One in grade 10 and one in grade 12. I left the school many years ago. Since then, I practiced law and then worked at one of the banks. And currently, I'm actually registered in a program at OISE in a master's in education.
I didn't know that, Alex. That's fascinating.
Keeping busy.
Yeah, clearly. Carmen.
Hi, my name is Carmen, and I have 2 daughters here at St. Clement's, one now in grade 5 and the other in grade 9. Both of them have entered St. Clement's when they were in grade 1. So I'm pretty familiar with the school now, now that my older daughter's in the middle school right now. So, yeah.
So, you know, maybe we'll start with Emma again. Describe a bit what kind of involvement and opportunities you had at SCS, or what kind of academic pursuits you followed, co-curricular activities, any major trips or leadership roles. And I should also clarify for the audience, Emma, you started in grade 7, right? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I was involved in a variety of things at St. Clement's. In terms of academics, my focus was definitely more science and math based. So I did 8 APs, including like all the science and math ones. And I also was involved with a variety of clubs. So guitar club was something I really enjoyed doing. I was the head of guitar club in grades 9 or 10 and 11. And in grade 12, I had the opportunity to be the admissions liaison and the head ambassador. So I was able to work with the admissions department, and that was another great leadership role I was able to do. And I also participated in sports. So I did badminton in the winters and softball in the spring every year. So I was able to be involved in a lot of different aspects of St. Clement's life, which was great.
Thanks, Emma. Carmen, do you want to go next?
My older daughter has been involved in a lot of school clubs and teams from the time she started. So mainly she's done Lego robotics. She's been in the middle school math and science club. She's done the eco team. Also this year, I think she's going to try for the Duke of Edinburgh's award program, which is helps young people develop a sense of responsibility to themselves and to their community. So she wants to be more involved in the community as well. My younger daughter right now, I think in grade 5, all the sports teams start to open up for them, but because of this COVID-19 pandemic, she's kind of going to be back a year. So we'll see what happens next year for her. Thank you.
And Alex, what about Kate and Claire, and maybe you a little bit?
Well, for the 2 girls, they've participated in a lot of different programs. Just listening to both the speakers before me, I guess they tended more, Kate, who's in grade 12, towards the sports teams, and also, so she's done cross country and track and field. And she's also had an opportunity for various leadership roles with throughout student council throughout a lot of her years. And then with some of the programs, community-oriented programs that the school has going, they've offered leadership opportunities for the girls to have those liaisons with the community, which has been great. And actually both my girls have benefited from that. Kate last year with a program focused on, called the Period Proof, so focused on supporting women in our community. And then Claire, who's my grade 10, has been working in a great program that's really, I guess, on point right now, supporting seniors. It's called Sweet Readers. It's a program based out of New York, and the girls are running that themselves and liaising with seniors in our community. So some great opportunities from both of them, and they've also benefited from the experiential learning program. Kate did an exchange to Australia in grade 10, to Melbourne, which was fantastic. And I know Claire would hope to do the same. Well, we just have to wait and see.
I know, so much out there that's not quite how we expected.
No.
There was a question from the audience asking about which schools girls came from. And so Emma and both of Alex's daughters came from the public system into grade 7. So I hope that answers your question, Nadia. So why St. Clement's? Either whether it was you, Emma, choosing for yourself, or Carmen choosing for your daughters, given that they were so young, or Alex choosing in combination and in, discussions with your daughters. Why St. Clement's?
For me, I think part of it definitely was that my mom had gone to the school, so we'd already had a connection with it, and we knew a little bit about the school. And even when we went to go tour it, I think that's when I kind of realized that I really liked the school as the school, not just because my mom went to it. I really liked that it was a bit of a smaller community. I wanted to be able to form close connections with people. I didn't want to feel like I was just like one person in a massive school. So I really liked that our grades were a bit smaller, and I was able to form really close connections with a lot of my classmates. And I also really like the academics of it. So I think I personally really liked being able to take AP classes and go a little bit further. And I also liked the fact that with AP classes, I could pick which ones I wanted to focus on a bit more. So I was able to take a range of AP classes, including like statistics, but also like a human justice course that I took AP. So I was able to kind of spread out academically and not kind of have to focus on one topic. I like that I was able to branch out, and that St. Clement's offered that.
For my girls, my husband and I were looking for an all-girls school for my daughters. We wanted a short commute to the school to and from, and we wanted primary focus on the academics. So another highlight was we found that there was plenty of co-curricular activities and school clubs and teams in the school, and that's what we were looking for as well. We also loved the look of the girls in the blue tunics and the red blazer.
I remember with our oldest, we really actually let our girls have a say in the process. They visited a few schools, and they were the ones really who felt the most at home and comfortable with St. Clement's. They were lucky to be able to have a choice in terms of where they were going. For me as a parent, I remember sitting in that meeting when I first came into the school, and thinking and saying to the head of I guess it was the middle school at that time for grade 7, I know you have the academics. I just know that St. Clement's has that piece buttoned down, and I didn't need to worry about it. For me, it was beyond that. It was really about the values of the school and the importance of community, the focus on the girls and education, and maybe that as distinct from just academics, it was really about educating the girls, and that's where the whole heart of the school is, and that was really what was most important to me. I do have a third daughter who isn't at the school. So, you know, I also recognize there's different places for different kids. And so they all had a say and chose the spot best for them.
So we know why you chose the school, but have you been happy with the choice? Has the school been what you expected, or has it not? You know, and have there been things that either were unexpected in a positive way, or, you know, didn't live up to an expectation? Go for it, Carmen.
Okay. My husband and I are both happy with our choices that we made. Every day my girls come to school. They go to school, they come back, and they're usually always happy. They look forward to going back to school the next day. So I think we made a wise choice there. About the school and what you expected, since St. Clement's is a smaller school, all girls school, I expected the smaller environment, help the girls form closer bonds to classmates and the staff. And also, I expected to see my girls come home with more homework during the junior school. However, I didn't see the gradual increase of homework until my daughter entered the middle school. So yeah, that was one of the things.
I can jump in. I would say it's pretty much what I expected. And more importantly, both our girls are really happy with the choice. They are that little bit older where, you know, if they weren't happy, we would have a problem. So it's been an excellent choice. The academic program, the focus on education, their sense of community, their friends, their ability to do sports, or leadership opportunities has all been amazing. And a lot bigger than when I was there. It's really grown, and very similar to offerings at really any of the schools.
Emma, do you have anything to add? Did St. Clement's live up to your expectations? Were you happy with your choice?
Yeah, I think I don't really remember honestly what I was thinking back in grade 7, but looking back on it now, I'm very happy that I went to St. Clement's.
So since I'm talking to you, like, what have you appreciated most about the school, and especially in retrospect after 3 years of university, or 2.5 years of university?
Yeah, I think the community is something that really stuck with me. So the fact that I was able to like form close connections with my classmates. We actually are all pretty close. We just had a Zoom call this weekend. So the fact that I made lasting connections with my classmates was really nice. And also the ability to form relationships with my teachers and be able to ask them questions and be able to be really curious in class was something that I really appreciate now that I'm in bigger classes, and I realize how unique that opportunity was to have like 5-person classes where I really got to form relationships with my classmates and the teachers and be able to ask questions without worrying what other students might think. And I also think the academics really prepared me. So being in university now, the ability to learn, like not even necessarily specific concepts or ideas, but my organizational skills and the way that I'm able to like do bibliographies and things like that. I think St. Clement's taught me a lot of important just educational skills separate from even the knowledge that really prepared me to be able to go into university and have that be a smooth transition.
Excellent. And Carmen, what about you? What have you appreciated most about the school?
I've appreciated most that my daughters have become compassionate and independent individuals now that they've, started, they've been at St. Clement's School. I think that's the main thing. And they've learned to take risks and think outside of their boxes.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And Alex, what about you? What have you appreciated most?
No, I would echo what Carmen said. I think that they're broad thinkers and they're creative thinkers, and I really applaud the school for that. And I guess for our oldest, she's also ready and excited about the next challenge. and isn't afraid to kind of go far and wide, which is really what you want at this stage of the game. She's confident and prepared.
Absolutely. In fact, some of you, if you joined us at the ARKids virtual fair a couple weeks ago, might have even had the chance to speak to Alex's eldest daughter, Kate, who was one of our ambassadors that day. Sorry, I suddenly lost track of where I was in my questions. So this is a tough one. If you were to change the school, what might you change about the school?
One thing I think going from St. Clement's to university possibly would be more co-ed interactions. So there definitely were some throughout the school that I had the opportunity during courses. We would have sometimes overlapping events with other boys' schools, but I think it would have been useful to possibly have more co-ed classes at St. Clement's or more interactions in co-ed settings, just because it is was a bit of a culture shock going from being around just girls all the time to being in a co-ed environment. But there also were opportunities outside of school that I was able to have some of those co-ed interactions. So it was just a bit of a balance, I think.
And I know that is something that we continue to work on as our current and upcoming strategic plans, to make sure that we're giving those opportunities and growing those opportunities for our students. What about you, Carmen or Alex? What might you change about the school if you had to change something? Take it as a positive when there's so much silence.
I don't think I can think of anything that would actually, things to change a school. I can't think of anything at the moment.
Yeah, I can't really think of anything offhand either. I know one thing when I was looking at schools that I was thoughtful about, and this is maybe going back in time to my own experience when I left St. Clement's, was it's a small school, and so sometimes that transition, and Emma spoke to a little bit, to university, it was a big transition. And I just remember wondering, I was, I guess, thoughtful a little bit about that. And I spoke to a parent of a daughter. She had a daughter in the graduating class, and her line to me was, at St. Clement's, they're very well known, and when they leave St. Clement's, they're ready to make themselves known. And I guess what she was saying, my concerns were, coming from such a small space, were they ready when they got to university and had the tools to be able to function in where they weren't known as well, coming from a small pool to a big pool. And I thought that line was actually a really powerful line, that it's not really about the size of the school, it's about the tools that school gives you when you leave, and that St. Clement's had been able to provide those. So I guess that's the only thing I ever really remember being thoughtful or worried about, but it hasn't been an issue for me, and I think the school prepares the girls well.
Yeah, it's funny, often when we think about the things we might change are also the things we value, but equally it's like with any choice we make, that there's a bit of, when you make a choice for an all-girls environment, that does mean that you do have less interaction with boys, but in the end, do the positives outweigh the negatives? Similarly, with a small school and having that small nurturing, it does mean that you don't necessarily have that instinct to, not fight it out, but to have to sort of struggle to make yourselves known. But at the same point, does that foundational nurturing help support the end result? And it's a question that we all have to think about as we think about educational choices for ourselves and our children, as we ponder what's going to be the right fit. In that way, there are so many great schools in Toronto that offer slight differences. So what would be some of those things that really differentiate St. Clement's from the other strong independent schools and possibly strong independent girls' schools in Toronto?
I think that you picked up on my thread there, Elena. It's that small size where it was something I was worried about. It was also one of the things that really attracted us to St. Clement's, and all the way through. Our girls are known. It's a phone call away, an email away. Everybody is very responsive and knows them as individuals and people. Which through those teenage years has really been helpful as a parent.
Are there other things, Emma or Carmen, you would say that differentiate St. Clement's from the other schools?
Well, I think that the small school actually helps the girls get to know the staff and the other classmates as well. And also the nurture environment, it makes school students feel safe, included, and accepted.
Anything to add, Emma?
No, I think they covered it.
I think probably one of the other things that we really talk about that differentiate St. Clement's from some of the other schools is the fact that we're 1 through 12 all in one building under one roof. That most of the other schools that are twice our size in population, so we're about 460 in total, and the other schools, they separate off the divisions, the different age divisions. And with us having 1 through 12 all under one roof really allows for that integrate interaction. It allows for leadership and role modeling in our older girls, for our younger girls to have mentors. But everyone always thinks it's just the younger girls who benefit from seeing the older girls, but it's the other way around too, that with the older girls, not only do they get the leadership opportunities, but there's also something rather grounding about having that multi-generational, it's not really multi-generational, true term, but multi-age environment where you can feel like, who do I want to be? Here I am in grade 11. Who do I want to be in front of this grade 4? And you reach into different parts of yourself than you might otherwise. And that really has its benefits too. So we really feel that that having all of us in one community and sharing assemblies twice a week, every week, though with COVID, it's just once a week. And being able to see each other and know each other really adds something to our community that not a lot of other school communities have. There are a couple questions that I know have been sitting out there in the chat, and maybe I'll see if I can get to a few of those. Maybe for Emma and Alex. Oh, sorry. Oh my goodness, my computer just fell. How did you find the transition from a co-ed school to an all-girls school?
I think for me, I don't really remember there being that much of a transition. Going into grade 7, I think a transition from any school was just like the focus of having all new classmates. I didn't really notice as much that there weren't boys in the class, but I think I really valued, as I got older, being in that all-girls environment. I think now that I'm back in co-ed, there's something really nice about just being in that all-girls environment and having, I look back on my days in St. Clement's and I I kind of miss just being around like all my classmates and being able to hang out in the halls and everything. So yeah, I don't think I noticed as much the transition from co-ed to all girls.
Alex, do you think your girls did?
I think at the time they were so relieved to be away from the boys. But maybe that's not fair. But they'd gone to they were at our local public school from from junior kindergarten to grade 6, and we were lucky. It's an amazing school. But they were ready to, they were still at an age and stage when they thought it would be great to just be with the girls. So really no issues, as Emma pointed out, it really wasn't part of the equation for them.
Excellent. We also had a question about what is AP, and so just a quick shorthand of AP is first year university content brought into high school level courses. You do APs in your grade 11 and grade 12 year in courses that are right for you. It's quite flexible. We'll have sessions about that that we can explain more about the AP process, but it's really an honors add-on system to the Ontario curriculum where you can qualify for advanced credit and get that extra challenge along the way. It's an international program that people, that is recognized worldwide as an honors academic program. So this is a question that our kids gave us, and it's kind of a funky question, but I enjoy it. We've been very serious up until now. So if the school were to become a person, what would its personality be like? And our kids gives us the parameters of in only 3 words, which sounds kind of like the kind of question I ask in admissions interviews sometimes. So what 3 words might you use to describe the person St. Clement's? And if you can just think of one to start off with, that's
Compassionate, independent, courageous.
nice.
So my word, I just have one, is inspirational. I'm always amazed by what these girls go off and do after they leave and while they're there. It is truly phenomenal.
I would say enthusiastic, welcoming, and curious.
Nice. It's a good question. So possibly in a similar vein, what's a typical St. Clement's girl like? What's a typical student? Always a tough one. I know what my answer would be, and I'm happy to, but love to hear from you. Alex, go for it.
I think actually that's part of, tell me if I get this right. I don't know if there's a right answer, but I think that's part of the charm of the school is there is no typical St. Clement's girl. And that it's the diversity within a small school that is amazing. And I think that's, I remember being asked by a parent, they weren't sure about their daughter, would she fit in? And I always felt like St. Clement's celebrated the differences. And so I would say there is no typical, other than maybe a passion and a curiosity for learning.
I remember going in for assessment with my daughters in grade, when they were in SK actually, and they were going through their assessments, and I went through the tour with my husband with one of those mentors that showed us around the school, and they were very polite, you know, well-spoken, and, you know, very friendly, I would say.
Yeah, I think Alex kind of touched on what I was going to say with, yeah, we're all very diverse, but I would say passionate. I think thinking back, like everyone in my grade, all my classmates, we were all very different, but we were all passionate about things, and we helped each other to work towards our goals and support each other's passions.
It's funny, what you all touched on, very much part of my answers, because this is something I get asked quite frequently. And you know, what does it mean to be a good fit for the school? And part of what I say is you know, such a wide diversity of types of girls, but united by a few things, you know, that curiosity to learn and an interest in learning, a kindness and compassion, an enthusiasm. Like Emma said earlier, that St. Clement's girls generally like to join things and try things out, and obviously it's not a requirement, but I find the transition is better when girls are interested in getting involved. They find their friends and they have fun, and it's so important to have fun. We're a community that doesn't shy away from working hard and really striving towards our goals, but adding in a lot of fun along the way. And that has the symbiotic effect of making you happy, making you want to be at school, which then also helps support the academic side of things too. So it works together very nicely. I think this is more a question initially for Carmen and Alex. You both have two daughters. Those of us who have more than one child know that our daughters and sons can be very different amongst themselves. And so, you know, especially when you're thinking of choosing a small school, a lot of parents worry that it won't be able to differentiate for the differences in your children. How has St. Clement's been able to support the differences amongst your daughters?
Well, I do notice the difference between the two daughters. One is a very talkative one is a very quiet one. But I don't think that they have any, there's no, I mean, they still get involved with the school regardless of their own character, and they still do well. They have the school clubs and the teams. The girls, there's a lot of co-curricular activity that the girls can choose from, regardless of what kind of personality they are. So.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, that the offering at the school is as broad as any of the bigger schools. So to the extent you have very different children, I think they may just gravitate towards different options within the school. My two girls who are at St. Clement's are very different. They gravitate towards the same extracurriculars, but they're very different learners. And both have found their place, and I think the school is really, in terms of the teaching and ability to teach to all those different learners, is top notch. So that's never been an issue.
And Emma, how did you find, like, you know, amongst your friends and classmates, there was a lot of different types of girls. How was the school able to accommodate all those differences?
Yeah, I think what Alex and Carmen touched upon was just how many opportunities there are. So I know I was definitely more math and science focused, and so I was able to take those courses, but my friends who were much more arts focused had a lot of opportunities for them as well. So it wasn't just we all had to take the same path, and as well having so many different clubs and even like ways the school can connect you to extracurricular opportunities. It was just having all of those options open helped everyone to be able to find what they were individually interested in. You didn't have to join a club you weren't interested in because there wasn't one for you. Like, there was clubs open for everyone, and just all the different sports teams and extracurriculars. There was always something that you could find that you were passionate about to get involved with.
And you know, and not only does that extend to course offerings, but also, you know, things like course levels. I've got a question here about, you know, what kind of enrichment is there before AP? And first thing I should say is, you know, we kind of plan our curriculum so that girls are ready for those APs ahead of time. So we're already thinking about that enrichment in a more wide lens in the grades coming up to grade 11 and 12. But there are also things like, you know, the fact that we girls can be in advanced or an accelerated French program starting in grade 7, or an accelerated mathematics program in grade 8, so that if they want to take that extra challenge and they're ready for it, they have those opportunities. So we do make sure that there's that differentiation and acceleration within the academic program for girls when it's right for them too, and you know, the end goal can be the same, so you can still come out with, you know, an AP French credit, whether you take accelerated French or not. It's just what path is going to be right for you, or in many of your cases, your daughters. So there are also those ways that we can academically differentiate along the way. How would you describe the values of the school and values of other families? And I might start with Carmen on this one.
I would describe the values of the school as a positive, nurturing environment where students feel safe and included and accepted, and a value that promotes positive behaviors and interactions, and also importance to respect and treat others fairly.
Alex, what would you say the values of other families in the school?
I think Carmen said it very eloquently.
She did.
Yeah, and I agree with what she said. Maybe just two words come to mind when I think about the school's values that really guide the parents who I've met, and also the girls. And that's the focus first is education. That's what's key. It's the girls' experience in the school and their education, and that above all else is the most important thing, and what everyone's working together to ensure is the best we can make it. And then also that community piece. So St. Clement's is part of the community that it lives in, and its connections to and outreach to that community are very, very important to it. It's not an island, and the girls are taught to be responsive community members.
Emma, how does that fit with your experience? Does that sort of reflect what you see, the values of the school and the values of your peers?
Yeah, I think they both covered it really well. Definitely being engaged and curious in academics, whatever your path is, and definitely being a part of the community, whether that's the broader St. Clement's community in like beyond the school or also within the school. So being engaged in activities and being engaged with the rest of your grade and having relationships within the grade, I think was a big part of the values that my classmates and I held. Absolutely.
And I think to jump in a little bit on what Alex said about the value of the education, we're also really looking at not only the end goals. You know, you've heard me speak and Emma speak a little bit about APs and things like that, but you know, I know our educational leadership within the school right now is really making sure that we're looking at the process as well, and the value of that educational process and learning along the way. A lot of research shows the importance of being able to not always just look at, okay, yes, tick box, I've got this, but like, what am I learning from this? How am I learning from this? And Emma spoke earlier about some of the sort of strategies she's taken away from her time at St. Clement's, and you know, what that learning process can look at like, and we really want to focus in on girls being able to gain a lot from just the process, and not just simply concentrate on what that final end point is. What would families find most surprising about St. Clement's? And this sometimes might go to some of the misconceptions people have about St. Clement's. What would families find surprising about the school?
I think something that surprised me when I first started at the school was just the amount that goes on. The building itself always seems pretty small. It doesn't seem like there could be the amount of things that go on in it that it is, but I remember every lunchtime there was always lots of clubs happening all around the school, in the computer labs with robotics, and the gym's always having sports and all the music and everything. So I think I was just surprised at the amount of opportunities I had to get involved with in the school, and how even though the population is small and our grade was small, there were such a wide range of things that I could get involved with.
I think people would be surprised about how spirited the school is. They do really go all the way out. And the students during assemblies and stuff, I mean, you can see like it's really spirited. And they have Spirit Week, which it shows as well.
I would agree. I agree with both of you. And the spirit of the school it has a very big heart, as big as any other school. Sometimes I'm not exactly sure what preconceptions people have of the school, but it always amazes me how the girls juggle so many things. So they do their academics, they are present in the school and involved, and then also doing all these wonderful, amazing things outside of school. And I remember when we were doing a tour with someone and sort of asking her, well, do you have time to do sports outside of school or clubs or drama? And she assured me, oh yes, I do, and rattled off the sort of 15 things she managed to do on top of everything else. So I guess it was just that on top of a full school life, there's time for other interests outside of school too. And at one point I wasn't sure how all that came together.
I'm still sometimes not sure how it all comes together. I live in awe of our girls, and your daughters being some of them. And I think just speaking, having spoken to so many families looking at the school and then who come into the school, one thing that surprises a lot about families is how involved girls are in athletics, that we don't have a lot of athletic facilities around us. And yet our girls, you know, we have 40 teams across 12 sports, and you know, the girls really are involved in athletics, and our teams do well. You know, it doesn't stop us, even if we don't have, you know, a swimming pool. You know, we were off at the provincial championships last year, and so I think that's often a misconception about St. Clement's. Oh, they don't have, you know, giant fields all over the place, therefore they must not do sports. And it's not the case at all, that we are an athletic bunch as well for those who want to be involved, and most of our girls are involved in athletics in one way or another.
Elena, just to build on that, I remember, because our girls do like their sports, and I remember wondering a bit about that when we were looking at the school. And what I kind of came to the conclusion was a lot of the kids who were doing sports they were involved in clubs outside of school anyway. So really that in school, it didn't need to be the best team. It needed to, there was, because a lot of the kids were already doing stuff with clubs separately. And so, really, as long as there was a chance to do it with friends, that was really the most important thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I just wanted to add that although the school doesn't have an on-site facility for sports, except for the 2 gyms, the school does a great job arranging facilities in the community.
We all, for the longest time, we were always like, oh yeah, we don't have the facilities. And then we kind of realized that the way we role model for our girls, that in life, you're not going to have everything on your doorstep. And to be able to say, look, we make partnerships and we work with other people and we go out into the community and we figure out ways to make things happen. And since then, we really observe how our girls, you know, when they want to do something, they look outside what is immediately available and say, okay, how can we make this work? And they're smart, innovative, creative young women who really know how to problem solve, which, you know, especially nowadays when we're all busy pivoting and trying to figure out how to do things differently, those skills are, you know, more precious than ever. So we have a whole bunch of families exploring independent schools, exploring St. Clement's. What advice would you give to families and girls exploring schools and entering St. Clement's?
I guess for our family, the girls had to be a part of that process. So making sure the girls are visiting the schools, chatting with people, and understanding what their comfort is in different school environments, because that they know and they get a feeling of where they will be best off, and if they're happy, then that's, everyone will be happy.
I agree with Alex. I think you need to go into each school and you'll feel the difference. You feel what school is right for your child or your daughter.
Emma, from the student perspective, what advice would you give?
I think what Alex mentioned was good, was maybe trying to reach out to students who are already at the school and actually talk to them, who have experience being in the school, and know what it's actually like beyond just what you're able to see on the website, and hear what they think the community is like and what they enjoy about the school. Because I think it'll help you get a much better feel of what the actual school environment is like.
Absolutely. Now, some of you may be thinking, that's great. How are we going to do that given that no one can go in the school? And so just to let you know, in the admissions process, there are going to be a variety of opportunities to learn more about the school and hear about the school. So obviously, there's tonight's roundtable. Some of you may already be aware that I'm hosting weekly admissions chats every Thursday at the lunch hour, covering different topics. Over the past 3 weeks. We've had a topic on the admissions process. We've had a chat with our principal and vice principal about the school's mission and approach. Today, I had a chat with our head of junior school, our junior school curriculum leader, a parent who's had her daughters go through the junior school, and a student who came through grade 1 is now in grade 11. And we were talking about the junior school experience. Fear not if you're like, oh, I missed that. We have those as recordings, and then we have more sessions coming up in the weeks ahead. So next week we're going to have a session on the parent perspective on life at St. Clement's. We're going to have a session on our Linkwell program, a session on coming in grade 7, coming in grade 9. So lots of opportunities to hear from different community members, including the student voice there. We also were having 2 open houses, one on October 23rd, Friday, October 23rd, and one on Friday, November 20th, both at 9 a.m. And those will be sort of presentations from different people in the school, hearing from students, alum, faculty, and our school leadership. So you'll have a chance to hear some voices there. And then we're also gonna offer virtual tours led by students. So normally, as part of the process, you would come for a tour in the school, see the facilities, hear from one of our student ambassadors, like Emma was way back when, and like Alex's daughters have been. And in fact, Carmen's daughter, Erica, was also an ambassador for us. Unfortunately, we can't do those live. So what will happen is we have a slideshow, which our girls will sort of talk you through and talk about their experiences, and you'll have a chance to ask them questions. And it's small groups. We're limiting how many families can be a part of those so that you can really get your questions answered and chat to those students. So there are going to be different opportunities for you to get that feel. It won't be the same as stepping inside our building. There is something quite palpable about the energy when you walk into St. Clement's, and it breaks my heart that we can't share that with you, but hopefully we are giving you enough other opportunities to be able to experience who St. Clement's is along the way, that you'll be able to get that feel virtually. Let's see, some questions.
While you're looking for your question, Elena, I'll just point out that I have put the inquiry form in the chat, which is how you gain access to register or watch recordings of our weekly admissions chats, as well as register for the open house. So that's in the chat now if you want to copy and paste it out before the session closes.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Meredith. I had one question about, you know, some of the social bumps that happen over a young girl's growth, and you know, there are always going to be challenges and times where friendships are not going the way you want. Has St. Clement's dealt with those in your experience?
I can try this one. So I do have a grade 10 and a grade 12. And there's always bumps along the road, especially through those kinds of teenage years. I feel that the school, and I guess this is where size can be a double-edged sword, because it is a small, there can be small classes and small groups. But I feel that the school, and it's the Linkwell program I'm thinking of particularly, which really works to and teaches the girls around emotional wellness, social wellness, and skills that they've been able to, and I'm thinking about one of my daughter's grades in particular, really help the grade navigate and awareness and community, so that where there have been pockets of problems within a grade, they've really taken the girls by hand and have them learn and grow from that, and given them tools, because at the end of the day, those kinds of interactions and those skills, people skills, they will need when they leave, and it's an opportunity to teach those to them. I'm not sure if that's a helpful response or
I think that's really helpful. Carmen, do you have anything to add? You may not, I don't know.
I don't.
No.
My girls haven't had any problems so far, or hiccups.
And Emma, like, you know, this question touched a little bit on, whether, there can be cliquiness or, how did St. Clement's help manage that for your class, and how did you find that social side of things?
Yeah, I think especially in grades 7 and 8, when everyone's first coming to the school did a really good job of making sure that we were introduced to a lot of different girls. So we went on camping trips. I'm not sure if this still happens, but we went on camping trips at the beginning of grade 7 and 8 to kind of make sure that you had an opportunity to meet new girls, and possibly ones you might not have met in your home form. And even just, I know at the beginning of grade 7 and 8 and grade 9, when more new girls came into the school, the teachers would be really aware of making sure that they would assign groups, or making sure that girls were always able to be integrated into the class, so there wasn't many opportunities for you to feel like worried about having to form a group or things like that. So the teachers were definitely aware and helped to foster those connections at the beginning, and even going up until grade 12. A lot of us had been together for 12 or 6 years at that point, and I think at that point we were more just like one big group of friends. You would have classes with a lot of different people, and so it would be nice, you would be able to talk to anyone in the hallway at that point. So I think just by spending so much time together and having a small grade, I knew everyone in my grade. I knew their siblings and what classes they were in and what extracurriculars. So it was nice to, at that point, I felt like we were like all sisters, which is a little cliche, but it really felt like that when I was graduating, that I had 64 or 63 sisters, which was great.
Amazing. One last question from the chat. There was a question about the role of religion in the school, that, people see St. Clement's. We are founded in the Anglican tradition, but what's been your experience of how religion interplays with the school? And I know it's going to be a little bit different junior school versus upper school. So Carmen, having come through the junior school, do you want to tackle that a bit?
Well, the St. Clement's follows the Anglican tradition, so we don't, like on my family, we don't have a religion, so basically it's fine with us. They do hymns and assemblies, and they do go, I believe, to the church 5 times a year. So yeah.
And what about Emma and Alex? How did you find the interaction with religion at St. Clement's?
Yeah, I think the main interaction was the church services we would go to, around 5 times a year. And in assemblies, there are sometimes prayers, but there's also, when I was in grade 12, the school began to integrate more non-religious moments. So you would have a moment of reflection during assembly to be more inclusive. And there was also girls, I am Catholic, so it kind of was in line with my religion, but there were girls in my grade who weren't religious or didn't follow the Christianity, and they were able to either opt out of attending church services or participate in different ways. So it was inclusive to them as well.
So for our girls, we don't practice a particular religion in our house, and to be honest, they've never really spoken to me about the religious aspect of school. I know that they go to church, but I think the trips to church, and I'm thinking about also at the carol service each December, which is in a church as well. I think there are more moments of kind of community and ritual to them as opposed to a specific religious experience.
And that's very much where we look to, that we honor our Anglican roots, while also wanting to ensure that it is a school that is comfortable for people of all faiths and no faiths. That we do have hymns, we do go over to the church, but No one has to say or sing anything that doesn't feel comfortable to them. We concentrate on golden rule type teachings that fit sort of all faiths, foundational doctrines, as opposed to, really trying to channel it into a particular vision of Christianity. And we do have, as one of our school values, spirituality, but we really want that. We want to grow that in whatever iteration is right for an individual family and girl, so that they can value that spirituality, but it does not have to be through an Anglican lens or any other particular lens, but just that there are those moments of spirituality and reflection. So to end off, because we're at our ending point, what would you say is, maybe one or two best things about St. Clement's? Like individual words would probably be best, just for succinctness.
Interaction between girls of all ages and all grade levels.
I would say community and spirit or enthusiasm.
Okay, so I was going to say spirit too. So spirit, definitely, community, and courageous. They're ready for the next step when they leave.
Alex, Emma, Carmen, thank you so much for being with us tonight and answering honestly. I know it hasn't always been easy. For all our guests tonight, thank you for being here. Thank you for learning about St. Clement's. We would love to continue this conversation. So whether that be reaching out so that we can have an individual chat, whether that be exploring some of our other opportunities to learn about the school, or whether that be through applying and learning more about the school through the application process. We really do hope that we get a chance to get to know you better through the process and be able to show you our wonderful, spirited, warm, smart community. Have a great evening. Thank you so much, everyone.